Anne of Cleves, the Flanders mare, the ugliest of the wives, the wife that not even Henry VIII could stomach. Henry VIII, the consumer of women who barely turned a woman down. Deceived by a painting. The beautiful painting by Holbein turned out not to be the case at all when Henry finally met her. What could I possibly be doing here, standing here, extolling the virtues of this lady, Henry VIII's fourth wife, to be the best of all? Well, what I'm going to tell you is that all of what I've just said is absolute rubbish. Anne was beautiful, intelligent, and loyal to Henry VIII. First of all, Anne was beautiful. Even the French called her tall and slender. All of the negative descriptions about her come from at the end of the marriage, when Henry VIII was looking for self-justifying reasons to get out of it, reasons that had everything to do with politics and nothing to do with his relationship with Anne. Slender, in fact, was originally mistranslated as pockmarked, and the word Flanders mare, that didn't even appear to the late 17th century in descriptions of Anne. This is Anne's sister, Sibylla, with her long blonde hair that we know Anne also had, not obvious from Holbein's painting. Tall, slender, and beautiful, Anne of Cleves. Now, the reason why Henry VIII failed in his marriage with Anne of Cleves was all about politics, as I've said. Basically, there was a moment in 1539 when a union, a treaty with the German Duchy of Cleves-Jülich was a good thing to do. By the middle of 1540, that had unravelled. Also, and more importantly, Henry VIII believed that Anne of Cleves was pre-contracted to marry the Count of Lorraine. Now, this was the last thing he wanted. He didn't want to risk another illegitimate marriage. He'd been there, done that, and had suffered the consequences with now 2 illegitimate daughters. Henry VIII tried for 6 months to get proof from the Germans that Anne wasn't promised to anybody else. The proof failed to materialise, the marriage had to finish. Now, this was after a time when Anne and Henry were actually getting on very well. Even though they'd never met before and there was some cultural misunderstanding between them to start with, Anne showed that she was intelligent. She learned English, she'd adopted English dress and English manners very, very quickly, and the two became friends. Now, this is seen in what happened next, when the marriage ended with a divorce, with an annulment possibly sealed in this very room in which I'm talking, Henry VIII's council chamber at Hampton Court. After all of that had happened, Anne proved herself to be intelligent by, unlike Catherine of Aragon, saying, yes, okay, I understand, I will go away, thank you for all of your money and all of your property that you've given me as part of the divorce settlement. I'm happy to retreat into the background and not be a problem for you. And the last thing Henry wanted was another problem wife hanging along in the background. So Henry loved her for that. He gave her a title, the King's Sister, which proved that he valued her as high almost as members of his own royal family. And Anne lived on. She was a great survivor, outliving all of the other wives, living on through the reigns of Edward VI and Mary I into the 1550s. So, beautiful, intelligent, and demonstrably loyal. And one thing about this painting. This isn't a painting that deceived the king. This is a painting which shows what Anne of Cleves really looked like. That was the whole function of court portraiture. Holbein was dispatched to bring back an image for Henry to show him what his prospective bride looked like. If he hadn't have done that, then Holbein would have failed in his duty, and it would have been completely against the whole principle of what you employed a court portraitist to do. One final thing. Henry may have been involved with Catherine Howard, his next wife, before he divorced Anne of Cleves. Now, Catherine Howard, a disastrous combination of naivety and experience, may have ensnared Henry with promises that she was actually pregnant. Henry needed a quick exit from his marriage with Anne of Cleves on the off chance that he had a new legitimate heir arriving with Catherine. Proved not to be the case, and Henry fell out with Catherine Howard within 2 years of the marriage. Anne of Cleves, meanwhile, had been invited back to court. She even danced here at Hampton Court with Catherine Howard over Christmas in 1541. And after the marriage with Catherine Howard broke down, she was even talked about as a new prospective bride for Henry VIII. There were even rumours that Henry had made her pregnant. So, Anne of Cleves, not only the wife that's most beautiful, most loyal and most intelligent, but also the greatest survivor, one that Henry even considers marrying twice. Anne of Cleves, the best of Henry's wives.